Hello and welcome to the 100th episode of the Overcome Yourself podcast. I'm so excited to be here with you and to be here with Alex. I met Alex at PodFest. I'm trying to think. Are you like the first person I've met before and then I've interviewed you? Oh, that might be kind of cool. So I met Alex at PodFest. I had the amazing opportunity to go to his talk and I found out about his whole system, which is called PodMatch. And since then, I've been getting paid to interview guests, amazing guests who have amazing stories, just and they're so easy to find because of Alex and what he's done. And so I'm so excited to welcome him to my show. So please, Alex, introduce yourself. Let us know a little bit about who you are and who you help.
Nicole, thank you so much, and congratulations on 100 episodes. Right before we recorded, I actually looked up the numbers because I knew this was me 100 episodes. Less than 6% of people who start a podcast make it to 100 episodes. So it's huge. It's a huge accomplishment. You've just done so well here. Also, I'm someone who listens to your podcast. I love the overcome yourself. We're often in our own way, right? Just such good content. I mean, you can thank Podmatch all you want, but it's your brilliance on picking the right people that really impact your listeners in a positive way, including myself. So I just want to say thank you for that. And honored to be here. And for everyone listening today, my name is Alex Sanfilippo. I run a company called podmatch.com, and I'll very briefly share what that is. It's a service that connects podcast guest and podcast host for interviews. I always say it works really similar to a dating app, but instead of connecting people for dates, it connects them for podcast interviews. You can message on the platform, schedule, do all that. The whole idea is just removing the friction involved because Nicole might not share this with you, but I'll share it with you. Being a podcast host is a labor of love. Nicole does this because she loves and cares about you and she wants to see your life continue to grow. She wants to see you overcome yourself in many ways, right? It's a lot of work. And the whole idea behind PodMatch is can we simplify that process so we can just do what matters, which is spend this time together behind the microphone and ultimately help listeners improve their lives and just do more for themselves. And anyway, so that's what I do. I'm 100% podcasting, been full-time in the space for just over 5 years now and having a blast. So that's a little bit about me.
Oh, that is amazing. I want to say thank you, of course. Just thank you for everything you've shared. Top 6%, that's awesome. Like, just amazing, right? That's super cool. Tell us, since this is Overcome Yourself, I want to hear the story of how Podmatch was born. Because I think that's such an interesting story. So can you give us a little bit of of your story and how you got here?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm going to go back to what I was doing before podcasting full time. So I was actually in the aerospace industry. Now, before anyone thinks I was something fun like an astronaut, skydiver, or fighter pilot, I was none of those things. I actually worked behind a computer. We were focused below the atmosphere on parts manufacturing. And I really loved that job. And I did really well. I worked my way to the C-suite. It was a publicly traded multi-billion dollar company. Like it was a real honor and gift to be there. But I hit this point, it was after we went public, where I felt like I wasn't I wasn't really fulfilled in my work anymore. And the only thing I can really tie that to is the fact is once you go public, there's a lot of red tape, there's a lot of procedures and processes. You don't really get the opportunity to kind of work like an entrepreneur in an organization, which that term has been coined, entrepreneur. And so I kind of always operate that way. I did a lot of entrepreneurial things inside of an organization, but once that change happened, I was no longer able to do that. And there was one time that really like I think it was the day that made me realize it's time to move on. And what happened is that one of my divisions running saved a full 10% in our margin. Again, we're a multi-billion dollar organization. It was a lot. And so I reported directly to the CEO. So I walk into his office and I maybe wanted a little bit of praise, a pat on the back, right? It was that type of scenario. And so I walk in, I'm like, hey, did you see the numbers in this division? And he goes, yeah, I saw them. And I could hear like the distress in his voice. And I was like, hey, like we saved the 10% there. He's like, yeah, I know, I saw it. I just kind of put my hands in the air. I'm like, well, what's wrong? And he's like, man, like we have a board, we have shareholders. Like you can't just do something like that and not say you're gonna do it. And so basically I kind of left, not really getting scolded. He's like, man, just report this stuff if we're gonna do it first, right? And I remember walking back to my office, which actually wasn't far from his office, but it felt like a long walk. And that was the first time in my career that I felt like a burden. I felt like it was taking time to do something that doesn't actually take time, right? And I can remember that day being the day I was like, it's time to move on. And I decided to start some side hustles and all. And I do want to actually mention that I did really well in that job until my last day. Like through my last day, I left on really good terms because I'm the type of person that believes the way that you end one season is the way that you begin another. And so for me, I didn't allow myself to get bitter toward the job. I didn't allow myself to start slacking and saying, well, I'm going to start doing something else anyway. I think a big part of overcoming ourselves is being willing to be humble and still giving 110%, even when we're not fully happy. And so for me, I knew that, you know what? I want to leave here, but I'm going to do my best until the last day I'm here. I'm going to leave on that right foot, make sure that I start my next thing on that right footing as well. And so I just want to mention that. It's like a little side note there, but it's really important to mention. So I started a bunch of little side hustles, and Nicole, everything I did failed. Like, I'm like, how am I good at business if I can't start building websites? If I can't do some coaching, if I'm not going to be getting any speaking opportunities, if I can't even finish a book that I want to write, right? You know, like there's all these different things. And finally, I guess I got smart. I don't know if it really, now it looks like it was smart. I don't know if it was at that time, but I decided to start a podcast because I really like that medium. And I'd done some podcasting in the past, just some stuff with my faith. I followed Jesus. So like I got into doing some stuff with that. It was really cool. So I knew I liked podcasting, but I was like, what if I can do something where I can talk to people who have successfully left a 9-to-5 job to become a full-time entrepreneur? Maybe I can actually learn how to make this work. And Nicole, two things happened. One, I learned kind of the system for making that happen. But two, I realized I wanted it to be in podcasting. I fell in love with the podcasting space. And that kind of brings us to current day with what I'm doing. What I ultimately decided was I want to find something that podcasters are struggling with. And you mentioned PodFest earlier, which is one of the largest conferences for podcasters. It was PodFest 2020. I went to that conference. I spoke when I got off. There was about 2,000 people there. When I got off of stage, I just asked everyone who would talk to me, hey, what are you struggling with in podcasting? Because I learned you need to solve problems for people you care about. That's part of being an entrepreneur. And so I had a notebook and I wrote down their name, their email address, and what they were struggling with. And I heard a lot of things that day, but I heard 100 people say the same thing. I'm having trouble finding the right guest for my show. I'm having trouble finding guests, period. I'm having trouble with the administrative processes in between. Hey, I have a book. I want to be on a podcast, right? There was all these things. I was like, that's the idea. That's what I want to do. And that's what I went home to accomplish. And ultimately, I filled up 3 whiteboards. I was a corporate guy, so I had like whiteboards everywhere, you know? And so I filled them all out. And at the end of it, I just wrote, like a dating app, but connecting podcast guests and hosts for interviews. I was like, that's what we're going to build. And ultimately, that's what we started that day. That was March 10th, 2020. And I brought on a partner, and 2 partners actually. One that was a developer, one that was in operations. The operations person, my wife, the business partner that is the developer. He's a longtime friend. And on June 15th, 2020, we launched the early beta of PodMatch. And that's kind of the whole story of starting it to ultimately what is leading us to what we've created today.
That's such an amazing story. Thank you for sharing that with us. There's so many lessons wrapped up in there. It's okay to evolve. It's okay to be like, you know what, this is not for me anymore, and I want to do something else. But my favorite part of that story was there's so many, right? But what I was referring to specifically at the beginning was how you were intentional about finding a gap, how you went out into your market, right? You paid, I'm sure, for your ticket to PodFest to be there, to be among the people, to be among your people. And you were like, hey, how can I help? And then you answered that question with a solution, right? And like that is what we coach our clients to do. Be like, who's your client? Who do you want to help? What do they need help with? And then how can you provide the answer? And you did exactly that. So I just want to encourage everyone that's listening that there's opportunities out there, and it's dead on a dating app for podcasting. Because I tell people, I'm like, it's kind of like Tinder, but it's for podcast guests. Like you match or you pass, and then you end up like doing your little podcast. So it's not weird, but it's like the good part of Tinder, of like being able to match up with people. And like being able to change. So thank you. Like I don't have enough words to explain to you how amazing being on PodMatch has been. So can you tell us a little bit more about, for anyone that wants to start their own podcast or that's looking for opportunities, can you tell us a little bit about how PodMatch helps them do that?
Yeah, for sure. And real quick, by the way, like I've never used a dating app. I've been married too long and happily married that whole time, which I'm thankful for. I keep on waiting for someone to actually meet and like a love connection to happen on PodMatch. And if there's ever a wedding, I don't even need an invite. I'm just going to show up and stand in the back. I just want to be there. I feel like that's the one thing that hasn't happened yet. So, anyway, I
I
thank
want
you
to
for saying,
clarify that I
yeah.
have used a dating app, but it wasn't Tinder. So it's really funny that we use those analogies.
Yeah, I think that's kind of
Okay.
like the status or the standard. Anyway, yeah, so
Sorry.
podcasting itself, man, what a time to get into something like podcasting. I know that's not like the question you have here, but I just want to share that like right now, I mean, podcasting is just becoming such an incredible thing. There was I'm blanking on the person's name, but anyone can go to a search engine or even AI and look this up. There was somebody who is really high up in the media space and basically said that podcasting is now what he considers to be driving the creator economy. Like it's people that are in podcasting, specifically hosts, but also people that are being guests. The host having like is being number one, the guest being number two. That's becoming like we're driving the industry of the creator economy, like that entire economy. We're driving that forward. What a time to be in podcasting. And before I share, I'll share on both sides of the microphone, Nicole, if that's what you'd like me to do. And is that all right?
Sure.
Cool. And we'll go do some back and forth. I mentioned earlier that Nicole reaching 100 episodes, which is incredible, by the way. Again, like less than 6% of people make it that far. That should tell you something about being a podcast host is that not many people make it in podcasting. As a matter of fact, less than 50% of people ever make it to even 8 episodes. Like eight
Wow.
episodes, that's 2 months. And the thing that I think a lot of us don't realize is that anything online takes time to gain traction. As a matter of fact, there's this idea that the internet wants to get to know you a little bit. It wants to see that you're serious. And consistency and longevity are two ways that that the internet can understand is this person can be legit. People are always like, man, my podcast has been out for a month. Why is it not reaching more people? Well, search engines and AI don't want to show that to people yet because the data shows that you're probably going to quit. And it's not to be rude or mean, just it's the reality of it. So it's like we don't want to show a bunch of stuff, people a bunch of stuff that's not going to do well long term. We want to see the consistency, the longevity. As a matter of fact, for me, my podcasting experience is I didn't see any real results until I surpassed 100 episodes. And so many podcasters say the same thing. When they reach 100 episodes is when things just started to change for them. And so I'm encouraging you, if you're like, hey, I want to be a podcaster, I think you have to make the commitment first and foremost. And the best way to do that, and Nicole, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this as well, but I'll just share two things. One is to get your why right. Why do you want to start it? If you say I want to be like Nicole, like I want to do really well in podcasting. I don't know if that's a good enough reason. You need your own reason, right? Nicole has her own reason as well. I have my own reason. You have to start with why. Number two, make a commitment. Say that I'm going to stick with this for 100 episodes, if that's the number. For me, it was actually 52. It was one episode a week. So I said 1 year, no matter the results, good or bad, I'm going to stick with this for that long. And I went public with that commitment, so I wouldn't back away on it. But those two things I think are so, so important when we're getting started. Nicole, I just love to hear, as someone who made to 100 episodes, again, being extremely rare, what's your insight for someone saying, I think I want to start a podcast?
Focus on a goal, like you said. Like set yourself. My goal was 100 episodes because I was told you are not going to find your voice until your 100th episode. So the first 100 episode, you give permission, you give yourself permission to be bad, to say things wrong, to show up and not look your best because nobody's watching anyway. Um, and
For
that's
you,
where
that's
you
not true.
practice.
For you, that's not true. For a lot of us, for me, that was the case. For you, that's not been true. You have people here.
No, but when you're beginning, right? Like you just tell yourself, like, well, because it's not 100,000 people watching, like it's gonna be okay, right? But you get over those humps. But it's yeah, like focus on the 100. Focus on the number. Like, don't look at how many people are listening. Don't look at followers. Like, don't worry about having a microphone, about having like a fancy system. Like, don't worry about all of that. Get to 100. That's it. That's the whole assignment.
I think that is really great advice. And here's the thing. People actually love I guess the lack of perfection involved in it. I mean, we live in a world where there's so many AI options these days, and so many things that you can do that AI is technically it can produce something perfect, right? Like no
Mhm.
no pauses, no sneezes, none of that, right? But the reality is humans connect with humans. And so if you're starting a podcast, you're like, oh, well, I don't sound like Alex or I don't sound like Nicole, or maybe you sound better than us, right? But you're like, it's still not at that standard. There isn't really a standard. People want to see you. They want to know you. Alex stutters from time to time. I fumble over my words. My sentences sometimes don't make sense. I have to go back, right? I talk really fast, even though I'm working on it, right? Like all those things are part of it. And Nicole's raising her hand as well, like preach,
Guilty.
right? Like you too. The thing is, though, people who like Alex will be okay with that. People who like
Mhm.
you, listener, today, saying, I think I want to start a podcast, they're going to be okay with that because that's part of what makes you human and makes you you. Give yourself permission to not be perfect. Make the commitment, have a why that goes beyond you, that drives into actually serving and helping somebody. I'm telling you, you can make such a big difference. The last thing I'll share on this real quick, you had an episode I thought was really good. It was titled Fear Unlocked. It came out, it was April 15th, 2025, and it was with Jennifer. And
Mhm.
she said this, I wrote down the quote actually. She said, the more gratitude you give to the future that's to come, the easier you'll step into your desires because you train your mind to actually see it. And so for all of us, we can't just say I'm going to reach 100 episodes. You actually have to have gratitude the fact I'm going to reach 100 episodes. I am so thankful for the people I've been able to meet. I'm thankful for Nicole and Alex who were able to help encourage me through this podcast episode. Train your mind to see yourself there because without that, again, just looking at the percentages of how many people don't make it in podcasting, you've got to do this or you're not going to be able to make it. I really want to see you make it because so few podcasters actually get that far. Podcasting is not saturated because people just don't stick with it. But I really want to see that change, not so it gets saturated, but so that your voice can get heard because your voice is the only one that might actually serve somebody.
Yes, and to add to what I was saying, it's taken me 4 years to get to the 100 episodes. Okay. So, like, if you don't get to 100 episodes in 2 years, don't throw up your hands and be like, oh, I'm a failure. No, like maybe you just had like seasons of your podcast and then you were on break and then you came back. So that's what we'll call it. But don't give up. Just if you fall off the horse, get back on and keep going. Like, even if it takes you a little while, you broke your leg, you got to heal, but then get back up and keep going, right?
That's
I
it.
love that.
If you're
Thank
if you're someone who's like, okay, how do I start this thing? If you listen,
Yeah.
I type in how to start a podcast Buzzsprout. That's the guide I use to learn, and they update it every year, so it's current. That's how literally I learned how to do a podcast. So you can go to any search engine anywhere and just read through that. They do a very good job with like images, videos, and stuff. So if you're like on the technical side, which I know Nicole, like this is not the place to get into that. You can very easily figure out how to do it. And here's the thing: it's not complicated. Actually,
Mhm.
Nicole, when you and I started podcasting, even going back just a few years, it was a lot more complicated to
Oh
actually
my
do it.
God.
It's not anymore. It's been made very easy because of people
Yes.
like us who complained to the powers at hand saying, listen, you all got to fix this thing. So it's fairly straightforward. So again, just how to start a podcast Buzzsprout into any search engine. You can find the technical side of it and get started.
Yes. I use Buzzsprout too, and people don't believe me when I tell them, like, literally all I do is upload the episode. The titles are done, the show notes get done, the transcript gets done. I have a blog post. I usually don't use the blog post. I write my own, but I have all the assets, even social media posts. And they're like, wait, but I thought it was more complicated. I'm like, I know, but that's why, come check out my host. And you guys know that all the links will be available down in the show notes. So, you mentioned gratitude. What part does gratitude play in this journey of yours, Alex? Like, can you talk to me a little bit more about that?
Yeah. For me, gratitude is just such a huge part. I mean, like, there's no reason I should be doing what I'm doing. And I'm not trying to sell myself short. I was I came from corporate. Like I didn't know anything about software. I didn't know anything about running my own business. Like the reality is I wanted to, but like I didn't know any of this stuff. And even the timing in which we launched, like there's no way I could have like timed it like that. Everything just kind of like aligned for lack of a better term. And for me being a person of faith, like I think it's someone looking out for me, right?
Mhm.
And I'm so grateful for those things. I refuse to let myself believe that this is an achievement of Alex's alone. Like, I don't believe in self made entrepreneurs, self made millionaires, self made any of those things. I believe it's a community, it's a group of people. And so for me, the way I express gratitude is by remembering all the people around me and thanking them every chance I get. Like, we only did well because the first person who joined told someone it was cool. I am so thankful for that person saying that because again, I'm posting out podcasting for the first time ever in 2020 when all my prior stuff was about airplanes. Like the algorithm was probably like, what is wrong with this guy? Right. Like it doesn't get shown to people automatically. Like someone's got to be willing to come alongside it. So from day one, I've just remembered that gratitude is a huge part of it. And so for me personally, every morning I write it down. Like I like checklists and stuff like that. I write it down to like express gratitude for three things every morning. And at night, same thing. What are the three things today I'm thankful for, I'm grateful for? And to me, just remembering that and very practically just being like, you know what, today I'm thankful that I get to do what I get to do. Like, I love every minute of what I'm doing. I have some tough moments, of course, but I love this. It's so fun. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for this interaction that I get to have with you today, Nicole, and with your listeners. Like, this is a gift to get to be here, to get to talk about this. So to me, like, gratitude is a central point of what I do. And I find that actually is a great way to overcome yourself. Like, it really is, because we when we get prideful, when we get arrogant, and we're thankful for us because it's us, and we did this, right? That you're slipping into yourself more and more. The way you overcome yourself is by remembering it's not only you, it's other people. It takes a tribe, it takes a community. And for me, I can't express enough how grateful I am for that. And that's why I love going to like the conferences and stuff like that. And I don't go to sell anything. I don't like set up like a booth with like sign up now. Like, I don't do any of that. It's just straight up. I just want to hug everyone who I've had the opportunity to meet and stuff like that. And that's where the joy comes for me. So it's a long-winded answer to your question, but it's so central to what I believe and to the way I run things.
And it's true because everyone wanted a piece of Alex. I couldn't get close enough to be like, "Hey, Alex, let's talk." But thankfully, he had set up PodMatch. So yeah, so I know that that's definitely 100% how you are in the conferences and stuff. So I know we touched on the hosting side of PodMatch. Do you want to give a few tips for my fellow authors, my fellow coaches who might be interested in being a guest on different podcasts?
Absolutely. And I'm actually going to go back on something with the host. If you're like, I think I want to start a podcast, my advice is first try being a guest. Just be a guest one time. If you're like, I hate this, it's the worst, trust me, you don't want to be a podcast host. If you're like, I love it, you kind of get like the bug, like the itch for it, then yes, by all means, get out there, do your own show, find your own niche, your own vertical. But the podcast guesting side of things is so much fun. I mean, it's just great. You get to show up like today, and I get to add a lot of value and hopefully leave a lasting impact. And then I get to leave, and I get to help Nicole promote it and get it out to my audience. So many people are like, Alex, how'd you decide to start PodMatch? I can now just send them to this episode. Not that I'm looking to avoid conversation, but if 100 people are asking in one day, it's very easy for me to say, listen to the questions Nicole asked me. And they kind of get the same great interaction. And I think that that's the beauty of podcast guesting, is it gives you the opportunity to build this know, like, and trust with people that you otherwise might never get to meet. And so I find it to be very, very powerful. And that to me is kind of the central point of it. It's developing that know, like, and trust. And it's also impacting lives in a really positive way. If you're like, oh, I want to be a podcast guest, listen, I'm going to say the same thing. Step one, have a really powerful why. Like, what's your reason? If you're an author, it shouldn't be just to sell your books. It should be to go out there and really serve somebody well. And the byproduct is they might buy your book, right? It's get out there and really help somebody. Like, I have this knowledge. I wrote this book on it. I want to get this out there. Whether they buy the book or not, I want to serve somebody with what I've learned, with what I know. Being able to do that, I think, is so important. And the next thing I'll mention is doing the research is really important. Like, example, today, the only podcast I listen to today, I listen to a bunch of episodes, is Nicole's podcast. I listened to Overcome Yourself today intentionally because I'm like, I'm going to be there. I want to show up in the right way. Like, Nicole, not that you say this, but if she refers to herself as Nikki, I want to call her Nikki, which most people name Nicole are like, please don't call me that. So anyway, if you're referring yourself as that, I want to know that. I want to show up. I want to hear that. And I want to use the same lingo that you use on your show. I also want to know that, like, hey, there's no hard pitch in this show, right? There's no opportunity for me to be a salesperson. Not that I need that at all, right? But you want to show up prepared, ready, thinking about the people that are going to be listening and showing up in a way that really serves them well. To me, those two things, having that why and showing up prepared, makes a huge difference as a podcast guest, because most hosts have had the guest that you can tell they never listened. They don't know anything about the show. They're reading your name off the bottom corner of the screen. Thankfully, it's there. And that's it, right? And we want to make sure that we show up different than that, because that shows to a listener.
Absolutely. And talk to me about how they can use PodMatch to find amazing hosts like me.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, whichever side of the microphone you're on, the idea behind PodMatch, once again, I know I already shared it, is just to remove the friction involved between. It puts the right people together faster, and you're not forced to have anyone on the show. There's a pass button for a reason, we always say. So it's just a matter of finding people quicker. But yeah, podmatch.com/free is where I always tell people to go. Whether you're a podcast host, guest, or aspiring guest or host, I'll give you some quick wins that you can read in less than 5 minutes. And it doesn't ask for your email address or anything like that. And that's podmatch.com/free. It's just to help you really get started, or if you're already getting started, to really take things to that next level. So yeah, I encourage people to check that out.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alex. I will make sure that I include all the links that he mentioned, like I said before, in the show notes. And I'll include my affiliate link down there if you guys want to join PodMatch, if you guys
Ooh,
want to
please
check
use
it
that,
out.
everybody. I don't mean to cut you off, but please use that affiliate link. That way I can thank Nicole. Like, I love to thank again, gratitude being central. I can know that she's helping. So yes, please, if you are going to check out PodMatch, please use Nicole's affiliate link. Sorry to cut you off.
No, no, not at all. But do definitely check out the free resources that Alex mentioned, and I'll make sure that they're all linked down below. Awesome. All right. So now that we know how we can get on Podmatch, you've given us the gift. Thank you so much for that, Alex. How can the listeners follow you on social media?
Yeah, most of that free page will have my links and stuff like that. So like
Perfect.
anything you dive into, you're gonna find me pretty easily. But I'm just Alex Sanfilippo. Good luck trying to spell it. That's why I always send people to Podmatch instead of finding me. But I'm active on most social platforms. If you see me posting there and you reach out, it's me. I don't have any virtual assistants, and I don't use AI to help me with frontline communication. I fully believe in being the one having conversations with people. It's the part of what I do that I love. So if you reach out, wherever you reach out, you're gonna get me, and I look forward to having a conversation.
Awesome. All right. And now before we sign off, final tip, what's that big tip that you give your clients that just like they were like, this is worth my weight in gold?
Yeah, do what you're doing longer than you think you need to do it.
Mm,
A big part of overcoming ourselves is this idea of self discipline, of persistence, of persevering, and that's really what refines us as humans. That's really what makes us stand out is being willing to do things longer than we feel comfortable doing them when we know that's actually serving us. So that's like my last tip is whether it's podcasting, whether it's writing a book, stick with it longer than you think that that you're capable of, right? And just keep on going because that really builds this internal thing that helps you get out of your own way. It teaches your body to understand that like, hey, your feeling is not in charge. What we're going after, what our head wants, that's what we're going for. And so I would just tell people, keep on going on, press on, don't give up, don't stop. Greatness is always just a few steps away, right? And we're always getting closer and closer to that. And we might not even realize that we might already be living in it many times. So just learn to enjoy the process as well.
I love that. That reminds me of what I call making trust deposits. When you say you're going to do little things and then you do them and then you can give yourself credit and you build up your confidence, you build up your trust in yourself, and you build up momentum. So I love that so much. Thank you for sharing, Alex.
Yeah.
And thank you for being here for the 100th episode. I'm so excited. Woo!
Congratulations again. Seriously, incredible achievement. I can't wait for the next 100 episodes as well.
Thanks, me too. So hopefully they'll be bigger, better, and faster for the next 100. So thanks again, Alex. This has been absolutely amazing. Don't forget to check out the free gift from him, and we will catch you guys next time on the next episode of Overcome Yourself, the podcast. Bye.